So the first thing that I want to say about iconoclasm is I actually had the pleasure of watching another author speak earlier this week. His name is Jack Aldrich. He's a futurist. And he spoke about the prospect of unlearning. As human beings, culturally, the strongest thing that we have, period, is the ability to unlearn. Beyond anything else, the fact that we can unlearn things is more important than anything else. It is why we have all of the amenities that we do today. What do I mean by unlearning? Well, here's what I mean. Take, for example, has anybody ever seen an ad like this?
Oh, yeah.
It says more doctors smoke Camels than any other cigarette. Circa 1960 something. We don't really see this anymore, do we?
No.
A lot of you probably lived through this era. I didn't, but I've seen it. I lived through the era when you could go in an Applebee's and they'd ask smoking or non-smoking, and it's all actually the same room. So it's really how close do you want to sit next to the smokers, right?
Right.
So over this period of time, and now if you go to Applebee's, there is no smoking, right? So in 40, maybe 50 years, we had to unlearn that cigarettes were not harmless. That's a pretty tacit example. Let's take another one. Back in the 1990s, gay marriage, homosexual marriage. Back in the 1990s, even the Democratic Party, Hillary Rodham Clinton, in fact, was saying that marriage is only between a man or a woman. This isn't a shot at Hillary Clinton. People can change their minds based on their environment. But the status quo said marriage is between a man and a woman. And in the 1990s, DOMA, the Defense of Marriage Act, went into effect under Bill Clinton and was only recently repealed under Barack Obama. Because back then, not even 20 years ago, the status quo told us that gay marriage was not the same as straight marriage. We had to unlearn the fact that that was unacceptable. Unlearning is the most important thing that we have, period. It's why we don't sacrifice people to have a better crop yield next year, right?
Yeah.
That's unlearning. Everything that we have is unlearning. If you are beholden to tradition above your ability to unlearn, you are faced with a very stagnant future. That's what iconoclasm is about. We're looking at things and thinking, do we need to unlearn them? We can look at something like, in God we trust, on our currency. Does anyone know why that's there? When did that happen? When did that get printed on our currency? Anybody? We just accept it, right? But it's there because of the Soviet scare. It's there because of the Cold War and the godless heathen communists over in Russia. America was not built on being adherent to a specific religion or any religion at all. But we accept this on our currency because of something that happened under Joe McCarthy in the 1950s. And it's just there, and we accept it, and we don't know why. We never took the time to unlearn it. What about ICE? That's a good one, especially with where we are here in this building. I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but there was a raid here that very much damaged some of the clientele that come in for salsa night, right? ICE has been around since when? Anybody?
No.
We don't know. It's been around since 2002. It is not an old organization. It is brand new. But the rhetoric behind it and why they keep expanding and getting more funding every single year with absolutely no regard to whether or not they are effective or warranted is because what would we do without them? What did we do without them before 2002? There was no ICE before 2002, and we didn't need them. So why are they here now? Why are they getting bigger? Because we are not taking the time to unlearn their purpose. These are all super important things. Now, the last thing I'll say about the book before we go into what I'm speaking on today. The thing that I adhere to most is I am not right about everything. I think the only way for political evolution to take shape is for informed and opposing discussion. I like people that disagree with me, and I want them to prove me wrong if they can. Because when they do, I have become more complete. That's good for me. You can't let your ego get in the way of learning new things. And it can be really scary because taking a blow to the ego sucks. It's not fun. You don't like feeling stupid or like you've been in the dark, but in the long run, growth is painful, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's what this book is about, is informed and opposing discussion.